Oh well.
Something on your mind?
I think we already asked all the questions, right?
Of course.
If you were raised in the chantry, have you ever...
Never what? Had a good pair of shoes?
How forward do you want to be? Number one, yes. You know what I mean.
I'm not sure I do. Have I never seen a basilisk? Ate jellied ham? Have I never licked a lamppost in winter?
Why are those the examples you're coming up with? Now you're making fun of me.
Make fun of my comrade in arms? Perish the thought. Well, you tell me. Have you ever licked a lamppost in winter?
I'm not so sure if we are talking still about lampposts or about other stuff, but the thing is, for both things, Alan's answer would be yes. He definitely would be stupid enough to try that out. Why yes, I've licked a lamppost in winter.
Just the once? And you didn't lose half of your tongue in the process? I'm impressed. I, myself, never had the pleasure. Not that I haven't thought about it, of course. But, you know.
You were thinking about licking lampposts? Unfortunately, we can't tease further. You've never had the opportunity?
Well, living in the chantry is not exactly a life for rambunctious boys. They raised me to be a gentleman. That's not so bad, is it?
It's not an environment with many lampposts, I guess. Not really, no.
I've no urge to rush into anything. We may not even survive what is to come, after all. Enough. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's go.
He anxious.
Something on your mind? Of course.
What changes about you after the joining?
You mean other than becoming a Grey Warden?
Well, I mean, what changes, like, physically?
You know, I asked Duncan this too, and all I got was, you'll see.
Why are they all so secret? He wouldn't tell you?
Oh, it's not that Duncan wants to keep it a secret. It's just that the Grey Wardens don't discuss it much. I gather it's not a pleasant topic. The first change I noticed was an increase in appetite. I used to get up in the middle of the night and raid the castle larder. I thought I was starving. I'd slurp down every dinner like it was my last. My face all covered in gravy. When I'd look up, the other Grey Wardens would stare, then laugh themselves to tears.
Nice. So it was a joke?
More like an initiation. They all went through it too. Oh, and then there were the nightmares. Duncan said it was part of how we sense the Darkspawn. We tap into their, well, I don't know what you call it, their group mind. And when we sleep, it's even worse. You learn to block it out after a while, but at first it's hard. It's supposed to be worse for those who join during a blight. How is it for you?
Yay, fun. I mean, we already had our first nightmare. I hate how everything is so secret. Yeah, I mean, especially with exactly this case. I mean, that's the main risk about it, right? Like, once all the experienced Grey Wardens die, you just lose all that knowledge. I feel like the prospect of not surviving is more a reason to rush into something than not. I think it can go into both directions, like motivate you to like just do anything, or to be like, okay, I really want to have the real deal. I don't want to waste the time I have. I think that, at least to me, that's also understandable. Nightmares, yeah, I know what you mean.
Some people never have much trouble, but that's rare. Others have trouble sleeping their entire life. They're just more sensitive, I suppose. Everyone ends up the same, though. Once you reach a certain age, the real nightmares come. That's how a Grey Warden knows his time has come.
Which we know from the next games as the Calling. His time has come.
Oh, that's right. We never had time to tell you that part, did we?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in addition to all the other wonderful things about being a Grey Warden, you don't need to worry about dying from old age.
Hey!
You've got 30 years to live. Give or take. The taint.
Gosh.
It's a death sentence. Ultimately, your body won't be able to take it. When the time comes, most Grey Wardens go to Orzammer and die in battle rather than waiting. It's tradition.
It's really not fun to become a Grey Warden or to be a Grey Warden. And I mean, if you still want to play Dragon Age 2 or watch my very fun Let's Play on YouTube, skip like a minute or something. But I think that also makes Dragon Age 2 like I mean, you don't know, but it makes the decision to send your sibling with the taint to the Grey Wardens to become one of them even more bitter. Because in the game it seems like quite the good choice, especially Warden Carver is way better than Templar Carver, I think. But yeah, that also applies to them, right? I think it's never like a topic in the game, because you don't really see your sibling much afterwards, but yeah. Anyway. How cheery.
And you wondered why we kept the joining a secret from the new recruits. There you have it.
Great. I mean, in the end, for Cousland, it seems in general like quite the bad deal. Your family is slaughtered, and then Duncan comes and is like, I can save you, but you become a Grey Warden. Like, and then he goes on during the joining, it's like, you have a choice. Mm-hmm. It seems a high price to pay.
I suppose it is.
You
We're
suppose?
the only ones who can stop the Blight, however. Is there a price too high to pay for that? You know, Duncan, he started having the nightmares again. He told me that in private. He said it wouldn't be long before he'd go to Orzammer himself. I guess he got what he wanted. I just wish it had been something worthy of him.
Aww. He will be remembered, Alistair, as well the others.
I know.
We will remember
Ending
them.
the Blight should make this all worthwhile, right?
Oh well. Is that new that at the end of each conversation it like freezes for a second? I can't remember that from last time.
Something on your mind?
I think we asked enough questions for today. We do have 3 more companions. Let's start with Leliana.
Yes?
3 options. Never mind. You should go. I like to talk. I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
If I may ask, what was life like in the Chantry cloister?
Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious focus.
Weird noises from upstairs. Do you know that? Like, usually I can't hear the people from the apartment above me, but sometimes it's like, what are you doing? Do I have to look? Anyway. Now it's quiet. Anyway. But it was not perfect. Some of my chantry fellows were condescending. This is the nature of religious folk, I suppose. Yeah, they tend to be self-righteous.
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
Oh gosh, religious discussions. I mean, doesn't the chantry say, cause of the betrayal of the people who went into the Golden City and blackened it? That's... Oh no. The Maker turned away from... I think it's always just about humanity. From humanity due to the burning of Andraste, right? Well... I don't really want the Maker looking in on me anyway. That would be honest, but we are being polite, so we say, what did you say to them?
What can I say to them? What they believe is what the chantry says, and the chantry is infallible, yes? Maybe I am wrong, but it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
But I mean, that sounds way more positive and open than the chantry usually sounds, so I mean, that's nice.
Yes? Well, here I am.
What would someone like you be doing in Lothering's chantry?
What is meant by someone like me? I don't want to flirt. I don't want to end up in a romance again. At least not a romance I don't want. Let's be dangerous. Let's be a little bit flirty. You know, a beautiful, charming woman like yourself. And there were no beautiful, charming women in the cloisters, you think? You would be wrong. There were many lovely young initiates in the Lothering cloister, all of them chaste and virtuous. It added to their mystique, because then they were forbidden, and forbidden fruit is the sweeter, no?
Seems like Leliana enjoys other women as well. Oh gosh, what about your fruit? Is it forbidden? Ew. That's what they say.
I did not take those vows that the initiates took. Vows of poverty, chastity, among others. The chantry provides succor and safe harbor to all who seek it. I chose to stay and become affirmed.
After imprisoning the old gods underground, the Maker turned away from mankind and departed from the Golden City. He despaired, for his first children had no urge to create, and his second children created sin. This is what the chantry says. I think it was at least explained differently in Origins, because we talked to one of the priests who was like, it's about the burning of Andraste, which happened obviously way after blackening the city, right? So your skills were learned before your time in the chantry.
I was a traveling minstrel in Orlais. Tales and songs were my life. I performed, and they rewarded me with applause and coin. And my skill in battle? Well, you pick up different skills when you travel, yes? Yes, of course. Let's move on.
Uh-huh. Not suspicious at all.
Yes?
Yes, of course.
Well, here I am.
You were a traveling minstrel. Do you have, like, tales to share?
Of course I do. I love stories far too much to keep them to myself. Everyone should be able to benefit from them, I think.
Know any stories from Orlais?
Of course, Orlesians enjoy telling stories. I shall tell you my favorite tale of Aveline, the Knight of Orlais.
Aveline? Didn't she also, like, if you don't know, Aveline is a character from Dragon Age 2. Didn't she also tell us about someone with her name. I think she also told us a little bit about this. That sounds interesting.
A long time ago, a girl child was born to a farmer. He had hoped for a son, not a daughter, and so he told his wife to abandon the child in the woods. Before the cold could claim her, the baby was found by a tribe of Dalish elves who took pity on the poor mewling thing and raised her as their own. Aveline, for that is what they called her, grew strong and quick and clever under the guidance of the elves. She learned to wield a sword as well as any man, could kill a deer with an arrow at 100 paces, and was as graceful on the back of a horse as she was on foot.
Continue, please.
Aveline's Dalish guardians saw that she could easily best any Orlesian chevalier in battle, and wanted to show the cruel humans the child they had left to die. They bestowed upon her a fine horse and armor, and sent her to prove herself to her people in the Grand Tourney. Now,
doesn't sound very Dalish, right?
No woman was allowed to take up arms, let alone compete in the Grand Tourney, but Aveline kept her helmet on and was not discovered.
At least from the Dalish we encountered so far in the series, it doesn't seem to be too much like them. But maybe it's just a story. Go on, by all means.
Aveline won many events and gained the approval of the adoring crowd. Eventually, she came face to face with the knight Kaleva in the Grand Melee. Aveline had already bested him in the joust, and Kaleva was determined not to lose a second time. Out of desperation to regain his honor, Kaleva tripped Aveline and tossed her to the ground, ripping off her helmet as he did so.
Charming.
Silence fell upon the arena as Aveline was revealed. Kaleva declared the previous competitions invalid. A woman had taken part, and this was not allowed. But the crowd cheered for Aveline. Kaleva was furious, for he had lost to a woman and was now being shamed. Blinded by his rage, he forced Aveline to her knees. "Know your place, woman," cried he, and slit her throat.
What the heck? Gosh, that guy had issues. That's terrible.
The son of the king, Prince Freyan, was present. He recognized Aveline's skill and bravery and began to see the injustice done to the women in his land. When he was made king,
Bitter that
he
it
rewrote
requires
the
that
laws of
to see
Orlais
that.
so that women could also become chevalier. He honored Aveline and knighted her after her death. And to this day, any female who is knighted reveres Aveline the Brave, for she is the patron of all women chevalier.
What a cool story. Also cool to know Evelyn from Dragon Age 2 for that. Okay, we do have some presents for Evelyn. For Leliana. This statue.
Oh, how dear of you. Thank you so much.
Symbol of Andraste.
Oh, how dear of you. Thank you so much.
And the necklace we are going to give to Roland.
Oh, it's lovely.
Of course, why not? Right, Roland.
My friend, I have to admit that I am curious about the role and responsibilities of a Grey Warden. I understand that the rites involved in the ceremony are kept secret, but please tell me, how does one become a Grey Warden?
Oh boy, take a seat. It feels like a very stupid thing to tell that. But the thing is, Alan wouldn't keep that secret, especially from someone he likes and who also thinks about becoming a Grey Warden. Of course, yeah, valuing freedom and also being a little bit bitter about what happened to himself more, and valuing his friends than faith in the Grey Wardens. Well, you know, just drink some Darkspawn blood and here I am.
So drinking Darkspawn blood makes you a Grey Warden? I'm sure it must entail something else aside from that. My only future was to be a mere soldier, a knight at the castle, or perhaps an army commander someday. But when Duncan arrived and showed interest in me, I was ecstatic. I was thinking that maybe I could not only fight at your side, but become a warden myself.
You want to become a warden? Despite me telling that to you? Oof. You know, it's not so easy. It requires other unknown ingredients. That's the thing. We lost so much knowledge, we can't even initiate someone else.
It's a shame that you don't know anything else about the joining. There must be some document still. Somewhere. Maybe?
But, you know, recruits can die if their bodies can't withstand the taint.
So only the fittest survives. I'd like to think Duncan saw something in me that led him to believe I would survive as well. What you tell me is a bit disturbing, but I think I would have tried nevertheless.
Okay. That's quite dedicated to the purpose. Which is, I guess, admirable. But still. I would like to say something which is none of these options, cause it has many rewards. I love this. It's way too positive. I guess it's a risk every hopeful has to take. It's also too positive, I think. The risk is too high, there's no way back. Would probably be the closest. You know, the risk is too high. There's no way back.
That I know. I don't want to think my life could end so easily. Then again, my life could be ended tomorrow by an accurate shot. Sometimes there are risks worth taking.
I guess the difference is also whether you decide to do that on your own or if you're forced, like we are.
Yes? What can I do for you?
We asked most of those questions, right? I want to ask you a question about what happened.
Of course.
I guess the answer's the same for everything. What happened to you in battle?
Once I sent your mother and you after your father, I stayed with the rest of our men to hold the doors for as long as we could. We knew we would not be able to hold them for long, so when Howe's men rammed them open, we fought. I ended up being wounded and knocked unconscious.
Which makes you quite lucky, because, I mean, they killed everyone else, right? You should have worn a helmet. They weren't trying to kill you.
I am not sure if they were or not, really. Not everyone was killed. There were many prisoners beside me when I finally opened my eyes.
Go on.
Howe was parading himself before us, giving a speech on how much he had waited for this and how he deserved it.
If anyone was
What a
unconscious or
bastard.
wounded, or felt too much pain to pay attention, they would hit them and throw cold water on them to make them listen.
Yeah, we really have to go for revenge at some point. I hope we can do that. What did he say exactly?
I don't remember much of what he said, just what I told you. I was bleeding from an open wound in my head. I felt dizzy. Everything was a blur. I was one of those who got hit and dragged around, as if more punches could make me focus.
This is horrible.
Others suffered a worse fate. Men who were too badly wounded to move were killed on the spot. The servants and children that were still alive were forced to gather the corpses and burn them. I don't have the strength to keep talking about this now, my lord. Please forgive me.
Oh, that's hard. You will pay for this.
I assure you, he will.
Oh. Alright, Sten, my very non-Kunari looking Kunari.
Why are we stopping?
You know, we're working together. I think I should get to know you a little bit, right?
There are Darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
Yes. Like, are you alright? You were in the cage for weeks. Oh boy. I think we were never told he was there for weeks, right?
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
You said you were in the army, right?
I am.
You still are? Okay, it feels like we're just going to get very short answers. What made you decide to become a soldier?
Decide. I am a Sten of the Beresad. I did not choose to be who I am any more than you did.
Well, I think we are the exception, but I mean, usually people decide their fates, right? Never mind. Let's keep moving.
As you wish.
If you don't want to talk. Okay. It feels, I have to say, especially after playing BT3, I really want to press somewhere to go to sleep. Select my food for the night, my rations. But I can't.
Oh, look at what your fool dog placed in my pack.
He wags his tail, which is very small.
A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
Understandable. Oh boy, can't be stinkier than what normally goes into them. What the heck? Well, it's the thought that counts, right? He means well.
The dirty mongrel can have this back. There. And tell him not to do it again.
You heard the lady. Ooh.
I don't want it, you worthless fur bag.
Oh. Don't insult my dog. I think you hurt his feelings.
Oh, he's just trying to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
That's awesome. I love this game. I love the companions. It's fun. Alright, quick save. Since we're leaving an area.